All right, everybody. Welcome back, Sam's Army. We got Matchweek 12/13. We got a lot to talk about this week. We're going to start out with Premier League, where we'll talk City Spurs, Salah's comments, and then, of course, Liverpool City preview. We will then hit halftime with Weekly What If. We'll actually send it over to Tyler, who's got one for us. Then Round the World with everybody's favorite Hit It and Quit It Minute and Champions League preview. And followed by Stoppage Time. Everybody, Ivan Toney's best bets and everybody's favorite segment, GOAWs. Now, time to welcome in this week's panel of beauties. We'll start off with Mr. Mitchell Goulet, a.k.a. Overtime Mitch. I have to ask you this. I've been seeing some this on your socials. Pokemon Go. What in the world is going on here in the year 2024? Year of our Lord.
So everybody's familiar with the phenomenon that struck the world in 2016, where everybody was losing their minds over a Snorlax over in the park and everything. I made the decision to re-download it after some peer pressure from some coworkers, and it's been the best decision of my life. Not only am I was walking upwards of 50 kilometers a week, I am finding community. I'm having fun doing it, and it's just fucking sick. I really urge you all to add me on Pokemon Go. It's so much fun. You're gonna rediscover your love for Pokemon that you had as a kid, and even if you didn't like it as a kid, you can still get into it. There's a really low barrier to entry, and we can be friends, and I'll boost you up and get you all the XP that you need. So this is my official, unofficial ad for Pokemon Go, especially if you live in an urban area. That's where it's fun.
Okay. I'm not going to get on it, but that was a good sales pitch. That was a very good sales pitch. In fact, I'm going to nix the question I was going to ask Mr. Tyler Terrens and just get Tyler, what's your status on Pokemon, and will you be joining Pokemon Go?
Well, Mitch just totally sold me on it now, and especially I don't live in a urban area. That much is damn sure in Loveland, Ohio, the sweet art of Ohio, as it's called. So I might have a difficult time doing that. However, I might download it at the start of the next MLS season. So then when I'm going to my different cities and I'm going to go on my walks and listen to my podcast and do the whole thing, like I feel like that's a good time to do it. I of course was a part of the craze. I mean, like I'm not a lunatic. I wasn't living under a rock.
Right.
I was an intern at Sportsnet New York, the home of, the television home of the New York Mets. So I was commuting from Jersey to New York City every single day at their old studios, basically like right across the street from the NBC studios. And I used to go nuts because we wouldn't stay at the stop long enough for me to be able to get some of the Pokemon when I was at my train stops going from, New Jersey to New York City. So anyway, long story short, I want to get back on. I'm back in the game. I'm back.
Damn straight.
Yes.
Damn straight.
You're so back. This will shock absolutely nobody to know that I was never even in on Pokemon. You said Snorlax, and that didn't even ring a bell. So
Pokemon Stop for Sam. Yeah, Pokemon Stop. There's no Pokemon Go.
I was too freaking old. Oh God, you guys really. Oh yeah, we just won't even talk about it. We'll just move on to Premier League. So, well, there've been a lot of weeks where I was like, do we got to talk about Spurs?
Everybody's a winner.
Talk about Spurs.
Everybody's a winner on this podcast this week. When's the last time that's happened?
It has not happened a lot this season. Mostly probably because of Tottenham. But I'm not even going to ask you which game you found most interesting because I just want to hear you guys, your thoughts on this 4-0 ass whooping by Tottenham at the Etihad. Where did this come from? I have no idea. But Tyler, you go first. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts
are
I
take my pants off.
Well, wait until by the way, Patreon did ask me if this is content good, like mature enough for an 18 years old. I didn't hit it. I probably should have. This comment might get us off Patreon. So with all that in mind, I mean, just a proper thrashing. Just in the empty had made my mouth salivate with the hopes of a title. And it wasn't just a beating. It was like Tottenham were clearly a better football team than them and looked like they had been a better football team for weeks, which has obviously not been the case because you guys have been dropping results left and right, including to Ipswich. So Where this came from, you're right. I have no fucking clue. But I'll tell you what, James Madison looked like Phil Foden did last year. And Tottenham looked like the back-to-back Premier League winners. It was incredible. I bet on Spurs live after they scored the opening goal because they were still plus 245 to win the game, and it was like the best bet I've ever made. It was incredible.
Now we have to revisit this. Tottenham's lineup Tottenham's roster versus Manchester United's. Where do you come down on that at this point?
The roster has nothing to do with how they play and who their coach is. That has nothing to do with any of it. I still think Manchester United is a more talented roster.
Okay, I'm going to keep checking in on that.
I will die on this hill. I'll die on it. I promise you.
All right, now, Mitchell, talk to me about Dejan Kulusevski. Just talk to me. Tell me something.
Oh, Hooper.
He's
the dude
baller,
was in a
bro.
flow state
so
out
good.
there.
He's so
dude,
good.
He looked like he knew he was the best player on the pitch too. That was beautiful watching him play like that. And I haven't watched an individual performance like that in the Premier League in quite some time. And to do it against City as well. I think City really showed their age this game. You saw it particularly in that very last goal where Kyle Walker, I swear I could have run faster than him in that moment with half a leg.
What was that? When does he ever get beat like that for pace? Ever?
Never. Now, it waited until the very last second to even kick it into second gear, and he just didn't seem interested in defending at that point. And the game was gone at that point anyway. That was kind of just icing on the cake. But even still, that individual play was a snapshot of the game. I think the one thing that we can say that this was not a fluke win whatsoever, tactically, Spurs looked better. From front to back, they just looked more organized on the counter. They looked far more deadly. They never for a second looked like, they were going to allow City a real clear chance. It just, beginning of the game, I don't know, that City has no juice. And I thought, personally,
they should have scored. They should have scored.
Vicario
they had opportunities. Yeah. This is not to say that they didn't have chances, but I don't think any of those chances were anything over 0.8 XG chances. Not to nerd out. I don't think anything was super, super clear and open. Haaland should be putting one or two of those away, and you can usually count on somebody for a strike from outside the box. But man, Spurs looked unbelievable, and that tastes like vinegar coming out of my mouth. But
and where this comes from, we've lost.
It comes from you. It comes from you and your reverse jinx last week.
Reverse jinx, man.
I don't think we have it. I just don't see us winning this game.
You were so genuine saying that. The fact that you even even think about. No, you tell me that there wasn't a moment when Mitch sent that video that he had clipped, which was perfect in the moment, and you were just like, man, should I play this off as a reverse jinx or should I not? There was no moment in which you weren't potentially thinking that.
When I said it, I meant it. I really thought, when the game kicked off, I was like, I really should have triple captained Erling Haaland in this game. I really, really thought that. And,
I'm selling him tonight. I'm selling him tonight, by the way. He's already done. He's a bum. Absolute bum. I'll tell you what, by the way, Mitch, you said tactically they were set up better. Spurs set up like that most weeks. This is the first time they've executed at this high of a level ever under Ange. Yeah. Ever. And I was having this conversation with somebody else the other day. I was like, what is this team? And then somebody else was like, I think we know what this team is. This team is a fucking roller coaster ride. We have no idea what we're going to get every single week. We now know what their ceiling is. And their ceiling is thumping City at the Etihad. And listen, this might turn out to be something where 3 teams have their way with Pep Guardiola and City over the next several weeks. It very well could happen, and we take some of the flowers that we're currently just draping all over Ange right now. But for the moment, that's the performance of the season, and it's not close right now. It is not close.
It felt like what was so weird is that you could just see City basically falling into traps, just everywhere on the field, and Pep didn't change anything. They just kept doing it for 90 straight minutes. And it's just, we would just catch them on the counter, and we were always good on the counter. That's us. I don't know. I don't know where this came from. I'm just basking in it for the moment because I know we're going to lose to Fulham this weekend. That's how it works. This is Tottenham. Like, this is the experience, just get used to it. But right now I'm loving life. And by the way, this was a City team. This was a Tottenham team who our center backs were Dragusin and freaking Ben Davies. That was our center back. That's why I was like, why didn't I triple captain Erling Haaland going against these two? I was just like, we're going to get absolutely murdered. And I took the over 3.5. It hit. Not the way I thought it was going to hit. But okay, I'll take it. I'll absolutely take it. But like I said, it'll come full circle. And by the way, coming off of this incredible performance, we're all sort of just stroking ourselves over here in Spursville. Of course, Vicario goes down with a broken foot. He's got to get surgery. He's out for who knows. But you know what? He's an important part of this team. The way he can distribute the ball. Fraser Foster, that's not going to happen. That's not going to work. So, if we got
go get Matt Turner. Go get Sam Pham.
Yeah.
Listen, I would take Turner over Fraser Foster for sure. I know Fraser Foster. I keep saying
not from a distribution standpoint, but from an overall shot stopping standpoint.
Well, my guy's my guy. Fraser Foster is like 8'7". By the way, that's what he's got going for him.
Takes up a lot of the goal.
Anyway, so just there's always going to be that little temper. Like, oh, it was a great, incredible performance. Oh, by the way, you lost your starting keeper, and now you're going to have to play a different brand of soccer for the next couple months. So, yeah. Anyway, all right, we'll move on. Now that we've all fluffed my junk for a few minutes there, I really appreciate that, boys. So, Mitch, what other game of the rest of the games, what game stands out to you most interesting, most notable?
Yeah, I'll talk about the Arsenal taking a decisive 3-0 victory against Forest. This game just goes to show just how important Martin Odegaard is to this team. God, we've missed him. It's night and day when he's in the side and when he's out. It's really, really crazy from a creative standpoint. Just the flow of what we look like in the final third, the chances created, those final balls, and the space that he puts players into with, in the space that he operates within, which is just a fucking telephone booth. He's a phenomenal playmaker, and I really hope we don't have to play a single game without him again, because he won.
It's concerning how much better you guys are with him on the field.
Bad.
And that was what I was thinking while watching that game. I was like, God, they look so good right now, and I'm like, this is a problem. If you ever sell him, or if he
you can trace everything back to one player.
Oh my God! Like, I don't know, and you can say what you want about Kevin De Bruyne or Rodri, how important they are to their teams, but like that City's going to come good at some point in time, and that they'll qualify for Champions League, they'll win 7 in a row or whatever. And you could say the same thing about Liverpool maybe with Van Dijk, but like those teams still operate. Arsenal has not been operating at, I won't even say a high level, at like a medium level over the past several weeks without him. That is shocking how much better they were.
And it's worth pointing out, ever since we sort of got on here and sort of said, by the way, is Forest legit? When they were like in 4th place, they've then got thumped by
dropped 2 in a row. And we said this stretch was going to be difficult, though, against Newcastle and against Arsenal. Yeah. It's the way that they've been beaten, though, that's been really, really disappointing, right? I mean, you go up 1-0 against Newcastle, and then you get your doors blown off for the rest of the game, and then you didn't even show up against Arsenal. And Nuno said it after the game, too. He was like, this just wasn't good enough. Like, from start to finish, he was like, we were kind of better in the second half, but Forest did not look like a team that 2 weeks ago people were talking about, and people, I mean, our people and me specifically, and Mitch, talking about them like potentially, and we talk about all the time how there's that one team that is sneaking into a European spot that we didn't think, but like they had beaten Liverpool, they were banging with the big boys, and then all of a sudden they get their shit rocked like twice by. I get Arsenal, I guess, is a decent club, but Newcastle has not been great recently. So,
right. I mean, we could get into that right now because the other game, the one that just finished up today on Monday, was West Ham going into Newcastle and coming away 2-0 winners. Like, I know Newcastle had like XG, they had kind of a decent performance. They had a lot of shots, but I don't know, Mitch, what do you think?
Game played primarily in the middle of the park. Let's start off with saying Newcastle should have had a pen. That's unbelievable. That play on Callum Wilson was not a penalty. Full bear hug in the back while going up for a header on the 6-yard box. I don't know how we go to VAR and then review that and say, nah. Nah, typical play. You're shaking your head no?
No, he's with you.
No, I'm with you for
okay,
a multitude. For a multitude of reasons, and not for nothing.
I was gonna say.
No.
Yeah.
Never would I ever argue with the IFAB that is Mitchell Goulet. But it's just for me, it's like, why has a bear hug inside of the penalty area? We see that all the time. Central defenders with balls being swung in like that get away with like flat out murder. They should be taken away in cuffs for some of these plays. It's like, referees protecting goalkeepers. When all of a sudden have central defenders fallen into that category too? It's insane. I will not understand how an oncoming attacker trying to play a ball, and you can make the same argument that they're defenseless because they're going for the ball, and you just get tackled. In what universe is that okay? And in VAR, I'm fucking riled up. Jesus, it's not even my team.
And all of this to say, West Ham were the better side on the day. Deserve both of their goals
with no Kudus and no Edson Alvarez,
right?
Which is like even more shocking.
Jared Bowen played well. We thought Wan-Bissaka would be, scoring. It was a dismal performance from Newcastle. Don't think we have to say anything more.
They have been. Can I talk about a team that's up and down?
Can I point out Martin Tyler's? I know Martin Tyler is clearly a Manchester United fan, and that has been well documented over the years. But it's just like, give it up, man. I mean, Wan-Bissaka is playing for West Ham at Newcastle, and you just had to sneak in there that he has scored against Newcastle before for Manchester United. Like, why is that a relevant stat in the moment? It just doesn't do it for me. As a commentator, I'm just like, the only reason you would do that is because you have some sort of affiliation with Manchester United. Like, that doesn't. It's a no for me. It's a no.
I was going to say, I love nobody else noticed that. Nobody else noticed that, but you did.
That's being a commentator ruins television for me, and it ruins commentary, and I'm paying too much attention. But yeah, nobody else noticed that. That's my life. That's my sad existence.
Now, speaking of ruining things, so you guys being Liverpool, came off of, I wouldn't call that a beautiful performance, but you got to win. So
objection, leading the witness, saying that this is ruining this. By the way, you've been watching too much Jamie Carragher. You've been watching too much Jamie Carragher.
The comments.
Go ahead. Finish your question, but ask it in a fair, like borderline journalistic way.
Did Mo Salah's post-game comments basically saying he's leaving the club because they don't love him and won't give him a contract after the game ruin the win? And perhaps
That's your journalistic way of wording that?
Was that professional?
We've got people don't know this, but we got a big time interview coming on the pipeline. You better get your shit together before that interview comes on here. I'll tell you what. So
it's true. It's true. If you're not on the Patreon, get on the Patreon because that's gonna be good stuff.
Yeah. So
your turn.
Number one, you're a clown. Number two, no, it didn't ruin anything. Okay. And Jamie Carragher. Granted, Jamie Carragher existed in a world of football and non-social media, so I'll give him a little bit of grace with this. Mo Salah has you think that these guys aren't talking about their contracts with their teammates and like behind closed doors at the training facility, and they aren't already wrapped up in all this stuff. Because Mo Salah seeks out, I think it was the guys from the Anfield Rap who were waiting for him. Which he's done twice in his career at Liverpool before. This is the first time in 5 years that when he's leaving the dressing room and already done his post-game media availability, he sought out the guys of Anfield Rap. Like basically they went on the podcast and said like, this wasn't like us asking him for a couple of minutes and for his time because they do that after every game. He was like, do you guys have a couple of minutes because there's something I want to get off of my chest? Yes, it's calculated, but like, this is a businessman, and he wants to stay, but he wants to get paid his money, but it directly conflicts with Liverpool's pay structure. We've been talking about this for months. This is nothing new. It didn't ruin jack shit. He just put up an incredible performance on the road against Southampton, coming off of international breaks to put Liverpool 8 points clear of the Premier League title. No, it didn't ruin anything. No, he's not going to be any less motivated to go play against Real Madrid midweek against Champions League. No, he's not going to be any less motivated to go play against Manchester City at the weekend. What are we talking about? This is Mohamed Salah. This is Liverpool. He's talking about his contract in the press and not even saying anything groundbreaking. All he's saying is that he wants to stay at the club and he doesn't have an offer yet. Okay. What? Like he's not one of the greatest Premier League attacking players of all time, if not in the world? Let the man just, try to play his cards a little bit and force the board to maybe slide some offer across the table. It's not going to ruin anything. God.
Well, when you say it like that, okay. Well, are you disappointed with ownership?
No, I think that this is an incredibly, incredibly fragile and difficult spot to be in because he's proving what I think Mane and Firmino proved after the fact. Firmino had already proved it. Firmino had lost a couple of steps, and it was fine to let him go, and it was time to let him go. Mane, they just didn't want to make him another player who they were paying 300,000 quid a week, and that's fine. Let Bayern pay him that money, and I think that turned out pretty well. Salah's second in goals and second in assists in the Premier League right now. People were starting to think that he was, quote-unquote, over the hill to a certain extent. He's not the same Salah that he was where he's torching Manchester City defenders left and right and scoring Puskas goals like it's his job. He's not that anymore. But he's still a really important cog and still one of the best Premier League attacking players in the league right now. And he looks even better under Arne Slot than he did in Klopp's last year. And he clearly is enjoying his football more under Slot than he was under Klopp because those two butted heads, and that's not a secret. This is arguably one of the trickiest contract situations in the Premier League in the last 5 or 6 years because this goes directly against what Liverpool want because the money that you potentially might pay him now, he will not be worth it in 2 or 3 years, no matter how good he is. He just won't because to pay him another contract that pays him 300,000, 325,000 a week, it's not going to be worth it in a couple of years. And that's a fact. But do you take care of a club legend? They haven't done it in the past. They didn't with Stevie G. They didn't with Jordan Henderson. They didn't with Mane. And now you might with Salah because he's proving Father Time a little bit wrong here. We might have gotten his years a little bit mixed up. I do not fault ownership for this. This is really tricky.
He ripped his shirt off, and I was like, holy shit, that doesn't look like a 32-year-old that I know of.
Nope. Mitch is raising his eyebrows. He's like, I know a 24-year-old who it looks like that. There you go.
Last game, unless you
and
guys
his name is Mikey Fowler.
Got another to point out. We got to talk about Ipswich United. So Ruben Amorim's first game, and looked like they were back. 81 seconds. They look real good. And then I can't do the math as quick, but for the next 58 minutes and 39 seconds, whatever. 29 seconds. I don't know. Listen, I can't do the math. But they did not look good for the rest of the game. I don't know. Mitch, were you expecting more for United in this game?
Yeah. Yes. Blew their loads super early. Good counter in that second minute, and good finish from Rashford as well. But other than that, not many bright spots from them. Didn't see much of Amorim's imprint on the game tactically. Didn't see much from the players. I fully expected a new manager bump, especially against the opponent like Ipswich, for them to drop points in a game like that is a little upsetting. I think even with the limited amount of time that he had with his new players, I think you should still expect more. You're Manchester United. I realize that this is a project, and I realize that it's a difficult one for a new manager to come in mid-season, but you're Manchester United. Got to beat Ipswich. I know it's away, but
good teams drop points to Ipswich Town. I think we've already proven that so far this season.
Volatile teams drop points to Ipswich Town.
Fair enough. Tyler, Amorim went with an 11 that was kind of the old guard. Casemiro was out there, Eriksen was out there. Is that? I don't know. I heard a lot of the commentators being like, yeah, I guess, that makes sense. You got to go with the people you have seen the most or you trust the most. I don't know. How did that sit with you? It's just too early to make any kind of judgment.
It's too early. Just this whole thing with, he kind of stepped in shit a little bit with his first couple of press conferences, meaning the initial one saying that he knows how there's not time and that United fans have been suffering. And then he comes out after the game and he's basically just saying this is going to take some time. I'm like, come on,
trust
dude.
The process.
Just what are we doing? Choose one of them. And either one you choose, I'm okay with, but stick with one of them because you're already making excuses and you're sounding like your Dutch counterpart. So just no.
I mean, we know which one it is. Like it's just going to take time to do anything. You can't come into this squad and just immediately, have an influence. He's obviously proven himself in Portugal that he knows what he's doing. The problem is, and he's right, and that's why he was talking out both sides of his mouth. Fans expect immediate results. That's the nature of the business. So yeah, I mean, I know where he's coming from, but you're right. He probably should just stick with one. The problem is that the one he should stick with is exactly what Ten Hag was saying for years on end, and so it's tough.
2.5 years. Yeah,
it's tough to come in and basically start that message, continue it right along. All right, we will go to a quick little FPL. Is there any other games you guys wanted a quick shout out?
I mean, we could talk about how
Cunha.
Liverpool are
I want
mentality
Mateus
monsters.
Cunha bad.
Excuse me.
What did Mitch say? What did Mitch say?
Said something about Mateus Cunha.
I want Mateus Cunha bad. I'm
Okay.
down bad for him. I want that man in a red kit. Did you watch any of Wolves?
I saw his goal, which was
but it was more than that. He looked alive and dangerous all game. Good God, he looked spry. I'm talking about him like, this is not 18 plus content, but good Lord, can he play? And I think if open to it, I think he's ripe to a big club transfer in January, if not the summer.
That's the Wolves way, right? People just come in and pluck their talent left, right, and center. Ravage. They're the new Southampton. Okay, Tyler. You got a mentality monsters moment to discuss here, so hit us with it.
Well, yeah. I mean, you pissed me off so much with your bullshit leading question, and so I was more angry than anything when talking about Mohamed Salah and Liverpool. But we're the team right now. Come get us. Mm-hmm. And I'm not just talking about the Premier League. I'm talking about the Champions League too. And Barcelona are coming off a 2-2 draw this weekend. And I know you think that Barcelona are the only team that has a say right now for the best team in Europe. There were European power rankings, and you know how I love my power ranking segment. I think Liverpool are, undisputed right now. Undisputed.
Undefeated in the Champions League. You guys got Real Madrid.
I was going to say, we can prove it.
No Vinicius.
That's true.
No Vinicius this weekend. Or this week, I should say. Yeah.
They're Real Madrid. It's still a litmus test. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
He's the Ballon d'Or winner, de facto. Should have been. Stop the count type deal. Yep, there you go.
Okay. He's extra motivated without it.
All right, let's get to FPL so you can, just make fun of me for the next 5 minutes.
Give you a little more shit. Well, fair enough. It's actually worth pointing out. You guys are 8 points up in the table right now. That is insane. That's crazy.
Last time we were 8 points up after week 12, 2019-2020 season. And we all know what happened that year. Yeah.
Well,
yep.
We'll move on. We'll let you just bask in that for a moment, and we'll move on to FPL real quick. Well, just quickly on the Council of Elders table, it was not a great week for FCTT. 28 points. The week get weaker.
7 of them coming from Dean Henderson.
28 points.
Wait, can I run through my lineup real quick? Dean Henderson 7, Vardiol 0, Mitchell on Crystal Palace 0 because Alexander Arnold and Lissandro Martinez are hurt. Okoli 1, Iwobi 7, Embuemo 3, Palmer 2, Luis Diaz 1, Evan Nielsen 2, Holland 4, Hoyland 1. What are we doing, boys? This is worse than Mitch's, 1 point extravaganza.
And then you wait, did you also look at your bench? Your bench got 0 points. You got 0 points on your bench. It's not like you had a better person out there waiting to come in. You were in a tough spot. Have you used your, what is it, the wild card?
I looked it up. I now know what a wild card is, and I will be using it this week. So
that's the first step.
Education is key, folks. I needed to understand what I was about to get myself involved in.
All right. Well, you're on the come up then. Major League Soccer, the bad one, Mikey Fowler, is still in first place in the same Zimmer Council of Elders. He's up 14 points on me, followed by McGunners, followed by I suck at FPL, and then of course FCTT. Now, quick shout out to Ryan Olsen and Toney Bologna, who is in first place right now. Followed at 778 points. Jesus, you're pretty good at this game.
Damn.
Sam Robertson is in second place, Team Zizou. Aditya TV's Cole Palmer FC, 771. You're in third. Kun Erlingus, Rob Carey is in fourth place. Kun Erlingus. And threw on pens, Randy Thompson. I thought I was going to screw up the pronunciation or something there. I think I actually did pretty well. But quick shout out
your delivery was spectacular.
Kun Erlingus. And also shout out to Kyle. I love Kyle. Kyle's nickname or Kyle's team name, just Kyle. Just Kyle. Shout out Kyle. Kyle
Is there a difference between Kun Herlingus and Kun Hislingus?
Well, it's Erling Haaland, right? Kun Erling Haaland. Kun Erling.
Oh, I thought it was like Gunner. I thought it was like Gunnerlingus.
No.
Oh, it's with a.
Oh, you didn't
it's with a C.
I got it with the pronunciation.
I thought there was a G. Listen, it could go. It's a double entendre. It could go either way. I mean, I guess it's not because it's spelled differently, but could go either way.
Kun Erlingus. There it is. Kun Erlingus.
Gunnerlingus.
All right. Move on to weekly preview. So, big game this weekend, boys. Kind of a big one anyway. Liverpool hosting City at Anfield. That's on Sunday. So, Tyler, what? Do you just feel like we're gonna roll over them after the way they've been playing?
I'm still so skeptical about everything. This should not be happening. New coach, reloaded midfield, like a 21-year-old Ryan Gravenberch, like a Szoboszlai who's not even playing all that well. I mean, he was gifted that goal against Southampton.
Very much, but it was a nice finish.
Nunez, still not even close to worth the $80 million. I don't know if he ever will be. I'm not defensively. And the defensive part is because of Slot's new tactical stuff. By the way, my next request for Talking Tactics with Tommy, which if you are not already subscribed to the Patreon, make sure you do so because honestly, it's making me a smarter soccer person. And I'm not just saying that because he's our guy and because this is our product, but he just released another one. It's available on the Patreon now, where it's basically breaking down Ruben Amorim's, that's how you pronounce that, Sam, by the way. It's breaking down his first game against Ipswich and sort of what to expect. And there are ground rules in terms of when you're reading his stuff, sort of the lens to look through it. And it's really cool. And it's coming from a professional soccer player who has aspirations to either be in a front office or coach. And he's around super smart soccer people all the time. This is really, really good stuff for those of you who want to geek out. And I hope that his next one is going to be on Arne Slot and Liverpool because what it's done to them defensively and what it's allowed them to do with a plus, with only giving up 8 goals so far this season and 2 of them coming against Southampton, they are just so much more compact and the resting defense is so good to the level of what City is when they're at their best. So that's the only thing that's convincing me right now that Liverpool can pull this off. I just 8 points clear at this point, 12 games in, and top of the Champions League table. I would have been okay with 3rd place in the Premier League right now and 5th place in Champions League. I would have signed up for that. I would 100% signed up for that.
If you win this, how are you going to feel?
If we win the City game and the Madrid game, and we don't even need to win the Madrid game. I'll take a draw, but it's a European night at Anfield against a team that's beaten us twice in the Champions League final. I feel pretty damn good, but still completely skeptical and won't be able to sleep at night. But still pretty good.
Something's got to give at some point, though, right? I'm
That's
looking
what I'm
at
saying.
This. Whether it's your side or whether it's Man City, I feel like the league as a whole has been sitting at a blackjack or has been sitting at a roulette table for 5 or 6 spins now, and it's been red, 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 and a black is coming. A Man City win is coming. A heritage Pep performance is coming. Against whom though?
All right, that's the biggest ticket game, highest profile. Everybody's going to get the eyes on that on Sunday. But there's a lot of other games. So what else are we looking at, Mitch?
Talked enough about Arsenal this episode. Let's go over to Chelsea Villa. Villa in a really tough spot right now. Really looking like a team that lacks an identity. Chelsea coming off a okay win against Leicester. Not super decisive, but a result that they'll take any day of the week. I'm curious to see just how many goals are in this game. I think Chelsea rolls them. I think Chelsea really put a number up on them. Villa do not look like they're in a good spot right now, health-wise and form-wise. Chelsea, I think this is like a 3-0 game.
It's funny you bring this game up and then mention goals. I'm just going to leave it at that, but we do have Ivan Toney's best bets coming up later. And let's just say I think there's going to be some crooked numbers in this one. Maybe both ways. We'll see. Okay, good shout. I actually also want to point out one game that I think is huge. Nottingham Forest. So they've come off of these 2 games that they've looked, pretty bad. They're at home against Ipswich Town. This is a game that I feel like we're going to find out, okay, is this a Forest team that's going to hang around? Are they going to be sort of upper mid-table, or are they, destined to fall back to where they've been the last couple of seasons? I feel like this is the type of game against an Ipswich Town team that is not bad, right? I mean, they've just took points off of United. They beat the Tottenham Hotspur. This is a good team, but at home against Ipswich, you have to win this game. You absolutely have to win this game, 3 points or nothing else. And I feel like this is kind of we talked about the litmus test for Liverpool against Real Madrid on a continental basis. I feel like this is a litmus test for Nottingham Forest in sort of where they're going to be at the end of the season. So I figured I'd point out that game.
One quick one. Yeah. Tommy has texted us and asked us to talk about Brighton this past week, and I'll roll that into what they're going to look like this upcoming week. They look really good. That front 3 of Welbeck, Matoma, and Joao Pedro look deadly, and they look like a Moneyball kind of front 3 as well. Like we're gonna recreate Erling Haaland in the aggregate, as Tyler said in an earlier episode of this podcast.
Go back to it soon.
Yeah, it's they look really, really well oiled, and they're playing Southampton this week in a game that I think they can just continue with that form. Tommy specifically wanted to call out Pedro's assist on one of those goals because just a pretty looking ball. But Brighton are good. Brighton, I think, can at their ceiling compete in Europe, and at their floor mid-table.
Well, they got so the game is at home against Southampton on Friday. And this is a Southampton team that just scored twice against Liverpool. So there might be some goals in that one too. Okay.
They're in 5th right now. I don't know why I'm talking about them like they're in 10th. They're in 5th right now. I'm sorry, Brighton fans. I could put far more respect on your name.
Far more on the goals.
Yeah.
22. They're not only are they in 5th, they're even with Arsenal and Chelsea. So they're basically even with
I should not be talking about them in a patronizing manner. This is
You're forgiven. You're forgiven. Brighton's good. We know that. Okay, we'll move on to halftime. Well, weekly what if. We're actually going to send it over Tyler Terrens' way. He's got one ready, all cooked up for us. Hit us with it.
All right, so this week's weekly what if is going to be if you were all of a sudden asked by Mauricio Pochettino to represent your country, be a starter. He says he calls you up. Overtime, Mitch. I love what I've seen out of you, despite the fact that you're non-weight bearing still on that leg right now. Okay, I don't care if you can't walk. You're a starter on my team coming into the next international window in CONCACAF Nations League semifinals. You're in the 11.
Yeah.
Or do you play for them, or do you play for your favorite club team, Mikel Arteta? Same thing. Overtime, Mitch. I know you've got a good rapport with Gabrielle and with Uri and Timber and the boys. Come and start for the Gunners for the rest of the season. Now, your pay is like what U.S. men's national team players make when they play for the national team, which is like 70 or 80 grand a year. Okay? Yep. That's your pay.
Yep.
But you get to represent your country. Your pay with your club, it's called a Mohamed Salah contract. 300,000 pounds a week.
Jesus.
Whoa. Those are steep numbers. And so I'm
You get to do it for you get to do it for an entire season.
Come on. And in this scenario, I am not playing for. There's no chance I'm playing for the national team if I'm playing for the club.
You're not allowed
you only can choose one or the other. So the thing, one of the big things to keep in mind is like frequency of playing. Like you're only going to play like 6 or 7 times over the course of a calendar year, and you're only making like 70 grand. You can still keep your other job. You can still be overtime Mitch, and then just go play for the U.S. men's national team.
Right.
Or you can make 300,000 pounds a week and go play for Arsenal.
£300,000 a week is insane money, and
That's
I don't
insane.
want people to take my answer as if I'm overlooking that. But here's your but. I understand the American media landscape. I would call myself a young veteran in the space. And I think if given the opportunity to play for the U.S. men's national team, not just play, but start for the U.S. men's national team, and then given months of free time at a time, I could successfully leverage that playing time into, we'll call it a small media empire that could maybe not reach but rival the pay of a Mohamed Salah contract. Now, it would come with some stipulations. I would need full media access and vlogability during training sessions and post-game performances. I would need teammates and Pochettino to be on board with this media strategy going into it, and I would also probably want a de facto role in the Federation's media team by itself. So I'd kind of get another salary in doing so, but I would take the role of the first ever dual media member / player in the Federation. I would be a pioneer in that space, and because of that, my answer is I would play for the U.S. men's national team.
What a phenomenal answer. And I'm super excited for you because you get to combine your two loves of playing and creating content. I mean, that's the best of both worlds for you.
That's right. That's right. That's how I got started in the first place, and that's how I'm gonna finish.
What an answer. Okay, Sam.
I can't rival that. I can't rival.
Don't worry about comparing yourself to Mitch. Okay, he's on a different stratosphere than you on most days. During the course of life, anyway. So just worry about Sam.
He's a wily young veteran over there. Well, what I would point out is I would do the national. I'm going to keep this short. I would do the national team if it was in 2026 and we were hosting a World Cup.
Non-World Cup year. Nope. This is for the 25-26 club season or the 2025 calendar international season.
I mean, I would play for Tottenham and make stupid money, and then I would play for the national team in 2026 and win the World Cup with Pochettino. That's the only answer. I mean, like, listen, Mitch's answer, I'm all on board with, but he's way too articulate, and I can't even recreate that. And
recreate it on the aggregate. Just do your best.
I'm going to try and recreate. Listen, I am stupid when it comes to money. I think we all know that. I just don't have a brain for money. But 300,000 quid a week I can't.
You could get a lot of Chipotle tacos at lunch with that every single week for you, my man.
It's a lot of Patreon subscriptions, let me tell you.
I need to create as many burner Patreon subscriptions.
so much Pacificos. I would have the wife off my back. Oh, this would be perfect.
Would you buy Declan's with that 300,000 pounds a week?
No, I would just give Declan's Dave some money and let him just do what he wants with it.
You just give him some money.
300,000 a week? Yes, I would be handing out money to friends. Be like, what do you need? How much? I would just hand out money. I would be Santa Claus with money. Yes.
300,000.
That's a danger for money. That's a dangerous game because then everybody's going to come out of the woodworks asking you for money. Everybody. Cunner Lingus from Sam's Army FPL is going to come out and ask you for money. You're going to be like, sure, here's 100,000 pounds.
With the name that good, I'd probably give it to him. I would too. All
right, my hosting is over. I'm done with my segment.
Well, you got to answer now.
I'll handle it. Answer. Which one did you do?
I'm going to play for Liverpool.
$300,000 or $300,000.
I don't want to go play. I don't want to go play Jamaica and Trinidad and Tobago and Mexico and Canada on repeat for a year. Okay, I don't. I would like some. I'd want to go see the world. I'd want to go see the world.
You want to go see England?
No, I'm going to go all over Europe in Champions League. Come on, man.
Western Europe. You're not seeing,
And I would do what Mitch would do, and I would during the national team, during the national windows, I would come in as an analyst for U.S. men's national team coverage and talk obviously because I'm a professional soccer player and I started for Liverpool. So there you go.
All right, you're piggybacking off his answer. Smart move. Smart move. His answer was very good. Okay, fair enough. I mean, listen, I can't believe I said that because I am the consummate country over club guy. I always am. But I mean, 300,000 pounds a week is I can't even. Let's just be honest. I just want to be Santa Claus with money.
Yep.
All right, we'll move on. We'll go around the world. Let's go straight around the world. Hit it and quit it. MLS Playoff Minute with the Minute Man himself, Tyler Terrans. We had some good ones and some bad ones this weekend, but they all counted and they all mattered. So hit us with the rundown.
All right, conference semifinals. That means 4 games this past weekend. We'll start in the Big Apple, Hudson River Derby between NYCFC and Red Bulls. Yes, it is played on a baseball field, and yes, that is going to come to an end at some point in time as Etihad Park is coming to a borough near you in New York City. And, of course, that borough is Queens. That's where we played at Citi Field, home of my New York Metropolitans. But it would not be so for NYCFC as they get beat by the Red Bulls, who seek revenge after a 5-1 win in a Hudson River Derby a couple of months ago. And Emil Forsberg and company are moving on to a conference final after finishing as the 7th seed in the Eastern Conference. They take down the Red Bulls, or they take down the Columbus Crew, and now they take down NYCFC. The Blues are done. New York, New Jersey is red, whatever you want to call it. Why don't we just say the Hudson River is red? I mean, it's brown, so it might as well be red. So there you go. Red Bulls are in one side of the Eastern Conference final. We're going to head over to the Western Conference for a second, though. We're going to do this a little, out of order. We're going to jerry-rig this whole thing together. LAFC and the Seattle Sounders. This is a game that has been played multiple times this year, whether it be in the regular season, whether it be in Leagues Cup, whether it be in U.S. Open Cup. In the last 2 competitions that I mentioned, both of them were in semifinals, and both times LAFC came away winners. As I said in the Patreon episode with Tim Parker, and if you missed any of that, sign up for the Patreon and then head over to the MLS preview where you can get all sorts of MLS insider info from Tim Parker. I said LAFC have been daddy, but the law of competition surely was going to come into play here. And sure enough, it did. The Seattle Sounders would not be beaten again by LAFC. Jordan Morris and a undermanned Seattle Sounders side. They were missing multiple starters in the starting 11, including Nuhu, their outstanding left back, including Joao Paulo, who didn't get the start due to tactical kind of injury, more tactical related issues. Reed Baker Whiting ended up getting the starter. If you're saying Reed Baker who, then God bless you, because that is the right answer. He's a young homegrown kid for the Sounders who starts like 10 games a year. And somehow Seattle beat Olivier Giroud and LAFC by a score of 2-1. Jordan Morris with the game winner in the 109th minute in extra time after an own goal from Maxime Chenot equalized the opening goal from LAFC. All right, let's head back over to the Eastern Conference. Let's head over to that magical place they call the Magic Kingdom, but really not that magical. Why would you want to live there if you're living in Florida? Because I'd want to be close to the water, not landlocked in Orlando. But, it's nice weather down there, and, land is cheap, and I don't know why I'm rambling about Orlando, but they did a great job. They beat Atlanta United by a score of 1-0, and the Lions come away victorious and get to their first ever conference final in club history. Congratulations to Oscar Pareja and the ownership group for Orlando City and the Wilfs, who have done a phenomenal job of reinvesting in this group and going the route of young, talented South American players led by Oscar Pareja, who's got plenty of MLS experience. And they take down the darlings of the MLS Cup playoffs in Atlanta by a score of 1-0, and they will meet up with the Rebels back over to the Western Conference, back over to Los Angeles, and the LA Galaxy put up a touchdown over Minnesota United. God bless my Loons, but you just approach this game in all the wrong ways. Why are you trying to go toe-to-toe, blow for blow with the Galaxy? We all know that they're the best attacking team in Major League Soccer. I told you this at the beginning of the season. Go back to Sam's Army in February. Who did I say was going to get to the MLS Cup in the Western Conference? I told you it was going to be the Galaxy. I might have also said that it was going to be Inter Miami, but that doesn't matter. I told you it was going to be the Galaxy out of the West. 6-2 is the final score. Gabriel Peck has established himself as one of the best players in the league. Ricky Puig should have won MVP. That's who I voted for. And all of you numbskulls who voted for Evander or Messi, get lost. I don't want to hear it. Ricky Puig has been the best player for his team and been the most valuable player in Major League Soccer this year. That game proved why, yet again, Galaxy are playing at a different level. They are your runaway favorites right now to win MLS Cup. So your conference finals are set. You got the Galaxy in Seattle. By the way, my bracket, Western Conference, MLS Bracket Challenge is perfect. Don't worry about it. And don't ask what happened in the Eastern Conference. And then you're going to have Orlando City and Red Bulls in the East. So there you have it for the conference semifinals as we head into the conference finals in Major League Soccer this weekend.
Beautiful, brilliant, as always. Well done, Mr. MLS Hit and Quit It Minute. I will point out the reason you were rambling about Orlando, because there wasn't anything to talk about during the game. It was...
it stunk. It was a stinker.
Stunk.
Yeah.
It stunk. Yeah. In fact...
Yeah. You're right.
As somebody who was betting overs religiously,
you know me too well.
Games
you know me too well. There was not really any storylines behind it. They're obviously rivals, but I was just Orlando won 1-0 in the conference semifinal. Moving on.
Listen, you hit what needed to be hit. All right, quickly, Champions League. We're back this week. So let's talk about one game. Just everybody, one game that everybody's got to watch, must watch this week. Mitchell, what are we looking?
I won't take Liverpool Madrid from you. Let's go Sporting Arsenal. I'm hearing Declan Rice is healthy and ready to go. I think we are on the upswing of a run of form that I would love to see validated by a performance in Portugal, and we need this in terms of like the standings in the new Champions League format. So, Sporting Arsenal, I like an over in that one as well. If that you got some extra shekels to throw around, but we know
if you swing that way, yes, I'm listening.
Yeah.
I'm listening. I'm on board there. All right, Tyler, what game are you picking?
Liverpool, Madrid, obviously, two of the biggest clubs in the world, going at it. Madrid have beaten us twice in Champions League finals. Sergio Ramos, you still can get lost because you're a clown, because you tried to injure Mohamed Salah. And I have not forgotten. The streets have not forgotten. Liverpool will get their revenge. We are going to take advantage of a wounded Real Madrid side, and I do mean that. They are wounded. Anybody who's been watching them recently, it's been shambolic, to say the least. No Vinicius. They're all out of sorts. Coming for that ass. Coming for that ass.
All right. Fair enough. A great game. Good shout. I will point out quickly two games. Number one, Man City is hosting Feyenoord. I got to point that out because Manchester City, as we've been talking about, this is Manchester City.
There's no way they lose to Feyenoord.
No way they lose six in a row. No way they lose 6 in a row, right? No way. No chance.
What if you had bet a parlay of Manchester City losing the last 5 games in a row? Talk about your £300,000 a week. You could have been Santa Claus and the Hanukkah fairy combined with that amount of money.
Books typically don't let you use the same team for different games in parlays, but if you could find a book that would let you do that, it must have been millions million to one. So the Man City game is must watch just because they're borderline train wreck right now. Also, Bayern Munich hosting PSG. Just so much high profile talent on display there. And by the way, this is a Bayern Munich team that is in 17th in the Champions League table versus a PSG team that is in 25th. So both these teams need that game.
Rematch of the 2020 final or 21 final? 2020, right?
Oh gosh.
Yeah, because 21 was Pulisic and Chelsea, I believe.
And that's when Bayern or PSG beat Bayern, I think, in the semis, and then Chelsea beat.
Bayern won the Champions League that year against PSG, against Mbappe, Messi, and Neymar.
Oh, there you go. You're right. Good job. Yeah, my brain doesn't work that well in that sort of thing. Okay, we'll move on to stoppage time. Ivan Toney's best bets. Well, coming off of a 5-0 week, in a week where I was not very, confident in my picks because it was an international break, we did not start out very hot in this past week. Started out 0-3 in our first 3 picks. That's not good. That's bad. That's very bad. We at least bounced back in the weekend. Won the last 2. I didn't remember the hat, so these picks this week comes with an asterisk. Everybody remember that, but I do feel very confident in these 5 games, and especially the game on Friday. But we'll start on Wednesday. We're going to go to Champions League Monaco and Benfica. Thursday, Spurs hosting Roma. And this is a Spurs team, by the way. Yes, we just beat Manchester City. We're missing our entire center back crew and now a goalkeeper. Okay, so that's what going over. Friday, this is the game. This is the one I would stake my life on. Schalke is hosting Kaiserslautern in the Bundesliga 2. This game is absolutely going over. I love it. I love Schalke Kaiserslautern. Saturday, we're going to the Scottish Premiership. Kilmarnock hosting Dundee United. And then Sunday, as I teased earlier, Chelsea hosting Aston Villa in the Premier League. That absolutely has goals. If we get 1 out of Aston Villa, then we might hit 6 goals in that game. All right, Mitchell, overtrain or not overtrain. Ivan Toney's best bets. What do you got?
So last week I told you Ricardo Pepi was going to score against his former club, and he scored a hat trick. I also told you Victor Boniface was going to score, and he did not play with injury. So that one's kind of a push. Don't fault me for that one. But I have 4 goal scorers on the weekend, and 3 of these will score. So mix and match these however you like. But here's 4 goal scorers. Christian Pulisic against Empoli, Chris Wood against Ipswich, Lewandowski against Las Palmas, and Harry Kane against Borussia Dortmund. That's 4 goal scorers. Pick 3.
I love that so
Don't
much.
go all 4 because everybody knows.
I'm parlaying all 4. I'm parlaying.
You want all 4? All 4 it is then.
4.
You're looking at something like plus 1,800 odds. But everybody knows when you go all 4, one of them misses.
Right.
I like 3.
Now that you said, you just reverse jinxed it. You just reverse jinxed it.
And maybe I did. Maybe that was on purpose too. Maybe I'm putting $100 on plus 1,800 of all 4 of them. Who knows?
If you're gonna do it, throw 50 for me because I'm in New Mexico and apparently you're not allowed to gamble here yet. So God bless.
If you want, Missouri apparently just allowed it, legalized it.
They did
with the vote, but it's not legal yet. So I guess I got to wait till January 1st. Anyway, by the way, if you want to sort of do the big brain move on that, it's called a round robin bet, where you can sort of either take 2 or 3 and put them all together. Anyway, great shout, Tyler. What do you got?
Rebels to win. Rebels to advance. Rebels to advance. I don't feel confident that game is not going to penalty kicks. And then Seattle.
You sound confident.
I sound super confident. Seattle.
You sure?
Seattle. Parlay it. Seattle to advance, Rebels to advance, and the MLS Cup will be in Seattle.
You wanted to bet on the Galaxy.
Says who? Well, no, now I'm hedging it because if I'm wrong on the bet, nobody's going to remember that. And if the Galaxy win, then I'll be like, I told you they were going to get the MLS Cup.
Okay. All right. Listen, it's MLS. Anything can happen. We've already seen that throughout the playoffs.
I have been so painfully right on almost everything on MLS this year, except for the one where I actually guaranteed your money back on the LAFC Cincinnati game. Everything else I've been like almost directly spot on.
Listen, next we'll wait one more. Wait till next season, and we'll do another money back guarantee, and we'll get back on the same page. All right, well done on the Ivan Toney's best bets. We'll hit the everybody's favorite segment, GOAWs. I've only got one left now that Mitch is. I was going to say Ricardo Beppe because he obviously came up with a huge week. But you go first. I'll let you go first. Who you got, Goa?
So that is kind of one of mine, Pepe, for the hat trick, and then also giving away his Man of the Match trophy to a fan immediately after he was given it to. Like, he knows he's going to get far more of those in his future. It was kind of looked like a big old plate, and he gave it to a fan in the stands, which I think is hilarious. Giving a trophy to a fan is just A1. But then I have another American international that I want to call out who has just been balling out recently. Goes by the name of Cole Campbell. He's an 18-year-old, born and raised in Houston, Texas. His mother represented Iceland at an international level, and he currently plays for Borussia Dortmund. He's 18, playing for their U23 side, and he is just hooping right now. He's one of the best dribblers at that age that I've seen in quite some time, an American in quite some time. And he's performing at the U.S. Youth International level for us as well. He's just a name to keep in that back pocket because I think he will be in heavy rotation come 2026. His name's going to get thrown around here and there. So do your research now. Know about Cole Campbell now because this kid's a ball player.
Good shout. Future ballers. All right, Tyler, who you got, Goa?
So my bad Goa is whoever was directing / producing the world feed for Liverpool and Southampton this past weekend because they decided to go to a inconsequential replay while the ball was still in play, and they missed a goal. You missed a goal. You missed a goal trying to go to a replay. You're a fucking clown. When the ball is in play, you're in play. It's the easiest sport to do television for. It really is. I'm an American saying that. There's probably some British guy who's produced 1,000 soccer games in his life doing the world feed for that, and he fucked up a goal. I didn't see a goal as a viewer. There are hundreds of thousands of people watching all over the world, and you were so selfish to go to a replay.
Can we just do picture in picture? Couldn't you just do picture in picture? Like,
No, why?
I don't know.
What are you getting out of the replay? What are you getting out of a replay? Why can't you go to the replay when the ball goes out of play the next turn? Or at halftime? Or at any other point during the game when the ball's not in play? What's the matter with you? No, we can't do picture in picture. So that's my bad one. Yeah, that one really gets under my skin. Really, really gets another deep cut that people probably noticed that because you didn't see a goal happen. But
I did actually
nevertheless.
see some tweets on that one.
And my good go is the Seattle Sounders. That performance. Anybody who didn't watch that game or didn't really understand how shorthanded they were and to beat LAFC, one of the better playoff performances and one of the grittier road wins you're going to see in a long. I mean, Atlanta was cool, but like Seattle was so shorthanded and they have been so miserable in terms of putting the ball in the back of the net. The fact that they won that game, they to me might be the team of destiny that I thought Atlanta were. Because I thought Atlanta were probably going to beat Orlando. That was the only other mistake that I made this year for MLS predictions. So, yeah, Seattle, incredible. Brian Schmetzer is a low key GOAT in U.S. soccer. He's lived and worked in Seattle for decades. He's been a 30-year man of the club back in their NASL days and the whole thing, taking us like an 18-year-old to go play for that team. If we didn't get Mauricio Pochettino, we were going to go with an American manager. I think it should have been Brian Schmetzer. That's just how I feel. But dude knows how to galvanize the locker room and win games. Plain and simple. Legend.
The man knows MLS, and he gets it done. Yep. Fair enough. All right, my GOA is Tottenham fans. So a day, I know this is masturbatory, but you know what?
Have we not done enough Spurs talk for this episode?
Earned it. Yeah, come on. We earned it this week. God damn it.
We did.
Listen, a day after Pep signed a contract extension with City, Tottenham fans responded to going up 3-0 at the Etihad by singing "You're Getting Sacked in the Morning," which is just an absolutely hilarious, probably the funniest thing Spurs fans have ever done in our history. So shout out to us, a little pat on the back. Yes, we're just gonna bask in this week. I know it's coming to an end. I know we're gonna hit a wall. We're gonna lose to Fulham. I know how this works, so I'm gonna enjoy it while it lasts.
More of these reverse jinxes. I swear to God.
I actually didn't.
He's just Mitch. He's just giving you more content. He's just giving you more content.
I know. I'm clipping all this. Yeah. Don't worry.
Yeah.
We'll be right back with another reverse jinx on Sunday. Anyway, so shout out to Spurs fans, guys. Mitch, Tyler, you guys are the best. I love you both. Everybody, if you're listening or watching right now, I love you as well. If you haven't subscribed to the Patreon, I still love you, but you should do that. If not for the episodes, maybe for the interview that we got coming up this week, or for Tommy's Tactics, which is raising our collective soccer IQ. And that's all I got. We'll be back bigger, better, faster, stronger next week. See you guys then.